And he's going to turn his head and he's going to be like, Potman, stand up.
And get shot?
It's a little girl. You're not going to get shot by anything.
And
Little girls can shoot people.
Just stand up, all right?
and then from like behind her, like
Oh,
other
God,
sort of
Clones.
Twins.
Triplets.
I don't have a lot of little girl pictures. I think that'd actually be kind of creepy if I was collecting them in my folders.
I was about to say that's more of a good thing.
Yes, but a total of like 4 others, sort of like in similar size, shape, and condition, with varying degrees of determination on their face, end up appearing behind the first one.
Dude, those faces are creepy as shit.
Face is even
Especially
more
now
creepier.
there's 5 of them standing at me. And they're in a formation.
Tony's just going to be like, Potman, just get over here.
Aidan will step out from behind the trees, and he's actually going to take his badge off his belt and hold it up to show them that he's a cop. He's going to say,
Yeah, we're the
what's
good
been
guys."
going on here? Is everybody okay?
So Potman's going to kind of stand up into a crouch, keep holding his briefcase over his head, and rush over as quick as possible.
There's like 2 of them who are distracted / amused at Potman. One of them who's looking at Trusty Tony. The lead and another one, though, they both look at Aidan and go,
Oh, well, why didn't you just? You wait. You're.
and they look at like confusion, like they're trying to recognize him from somewhere.
Oh, why didn't you just say you were a police officer?
I didn't get much of a chance before we started,
Running.
yes.
We're so sorry. It's just.
It's okay, we're all fine. It's,
No
but
one was.
how
no one was
are
hurt.
you all doing?
Um.
Are there any adults here looking after you?
Yes. Father Blackman will be so pleased that you should come in though. Quickly.
Did you just say Father Blackman?
Father Blackman, yes.
Okay. It was about
Black
Yeah,
man.
there was a separation in the words there that was like, holy shit.
this
We
game
just
got
went-
this game got a little racist really quickly. Okay.
Father Blackman.
Okay.
Yes,
We would
Father
let- we would-
Blackman.
I think we would like to meet this father.
Can you take us to him?
He's
that,
resting right now, but we can. Yes, please come in though. Please. hurry.
I'll
We'll
put
follow.
my
We'll follow.
away.
Come on. Potman, get over here.
Cheryl cracks her necks and sort of just walks behind him slowly.
I'll call back and
Yeah,
say, hey,
Potman's
Gene,
still
we're gonna-
rushing over, all crouched and trying to protect his head.
Tony's just gonna facepalm and not even look. Just follow the girls inside.
Yeah, follow him in and help him barricade it back up after everyone's in.
Sure. Okay. That's certainly done. The 5 girls definitely usher in the entire group, and we'll cut back to the gray area here to show that off. Looking around like the interior of the school, it's pretty dark, even though they have electricity here. They appear to not have been using the lights, and quite a lot of gear within the small sort of schoolhouse has been pushed to the windows to ensure they're barricaded. The doors themselves have been quite heavily reinforced. And looking around, it doesn't take anyone who's highly intelligent. Certainly all of you can easily tell that this just can't be the work of a bunch of little children prodigies. Especially armed with just BB guns as they are, and like little knives, like it's almost something out of a horror movie, just to like Children of the Corn is about to happen here.
I wish we had cougars with thumbs then.
Can we go back to the cougars with thumbs? Something we understand.
One of them does end up scattering off, and you're ushered in basically just like this main sort of like office area for the entire school. You're offered like little things to eat. You guys are gonna think that's funny, but one of them is cookies.
What kind of cookies we're talking about
I'll
here?
eat that cookie with indignation.
These Girl Scout cookies?
Some of them most certainly could be. Is Trusty Tony a purveyor of Girl Scout cookies?
A connoisseur, at least.
I am a connoisseur of the finest delicacy known to men.
Well, Girl Scouts don't really make it out here to a little tiny town like this, but certainly they're Girl Scout-esque.
We got Tago. Eh?
Great value brand.
Thick
Whatever.
mints.
He'll eat the cookies. It's impolite to deny.
Semi-narrow mints.
Yes. Eventually, the lead one, the one that ended up initially talking to Tony, who ran away from the group when you all rushed to the office, does end up slowly returning, and she returns with a rather sort of imposing figure. He cuts quite a bit, standing at about 6'5". He's got graying temples, appears to be in his mid-50s. Sort of like this salt and pepper hair, with steely green eyes. Wearing sort of practical clothes. They've definitely been mended and remended quite a bit. You would guess perhaps by his own hands. The hands are heavily scarred and calloused. And as well as his face, it looks like this is a gentleman who has seen quite a bit. And he has a sort of strapped on his back, almost as if he does not leave by its side, appears to be, at least Aidan with the most proficiency we guess, a high-powered sniper rifle.
Well, if this
Forward
shit's only been
preacher
going
mango.
on for 2 days and he's already had to mend his clothing multiple times, he's seen some shit.
That's right. He looks at you, and this sort of piercing gaze ends up washing over the four of you. Almost as if this is sort of the character who is used to looking through people as much as looking at people.
Hey.
Stepping forward, I will put the badge back on the belt by now. I'll extend a hand and say, Mr. or Father Blackman, I assume?
He'll close the distance and actually extend a grizzled hand out himself. Father Charles Blackman, yes. I am the priest in charge of the Lutheran Church here, serving Summer Meadow, and it's a great pleasure to meet you, Mr.
Detective O'Neill, from... Shit, I guess we didn't decide which city I actually worked in.
Just say Romero.
Say Romero. It's just as fine. You serve Romero County, it's cool.
Yeah, that'll work. Detective O'Neill from Romero County.
A browless Romero. Didn't actually expect to see anyone all the way from out there here.
You're actually just coming back from the coast.
Oh.
We kind of ran into this on the way.
A sort of like a hopeful look that appeared in his eyes, appears a bit crestfallen. I see. And so the others you have with you are more friends for a pleasure trip then.
Yeah, long weekend and all.
Whoa, hey, what are you implying?
Shut up, Potman. Shut up, Eugene.
You used that
Shut up, Eugene.
Potman, that's great. The
All
father's
credibility
eyes,
goes to shit.
the father's eyes flick around Aidan and to his group of people that he travels with. The father says nothing. He looks back at
Judge not, lest ye be judged.
Aidan and says, well, I imagine this is quite an interesting situation for all of us, but one which... sort of sighs. What have you seen out there?
We got in late. We didn't actually see much until this morning. Just people acting a bit off their rocker and the worst mad cow disease I've ever heard of.
We solved that, though. Well, the cow.
Yellow eyes.
Yes, I have seen as much myself. I am not sure what test or hellish creation this might be, but there have been quite a few good people of Summer Meadow who have been afflicted by it.
The town was not in
think
good
it's
shape.
I think it's a weapon that the government is testing on small towns that no one will notice going missing. It all makes sense.
The father looks over Aidan's shoulder again and says, I see that your friend has not quite handled the situation very well.
No,
on,
and I'll
someone's
glance
gotta say
over my
that's just
shoulder
how
at him
Grimith is.
myself. He's a bit out there.
He's
I
out.
imagine Mr. Potman would be having difficulty coming to terms with what he's seeing.
Just kind of look at Potman,
What?
trying to
Hey,
assess him a little
no,
bit.
I mean, they call me
Trying to
Killer
develop
MacGannigan.
trying to develop a little bit of rapport with this guy so he doesn't shoot us.
I'm stone cold.
Stoned cold?
The father looks away from Potman and back towards Aidan. Detective, you said. During your time here, you had spoken with some of the girls previously. Have any of you been injured?
Nothing too serious. I got a scratch on my shoulder, and Tony here got raked as well.
Ah,
Took a-
yes.
Took a nice chunk of my leg. Ruined
Ah,
a suit.
yes.
Ruined my suit, but we showed him what's for.
You know, the father's eyes do harden quite a bit. Yes, I have seen some of those things which have possessed my former constituents and fellow worshippers of the Lord, walking around with those sharpened nails, among many other horrid things.
Those nails hurt, let me tell you.
What can you tell us about what happened here?
The father sort of sighs and slumps. I know not. The trouble began Friday night, early Saturday morning. All sorts of chaos and uproar quickly spread. I was not at the church, perhaps for the best. Chaos all in the streets. I did what I could to come here to the school, rally as much of the people as I could, those who would listen, but there was so much. And the eyes just sort of get like this, he shows like a broken look for a few seconds, as if he can't really process what he saw over the past few days. And the words of him trying to describe to you what all he saw just sort of sputter out.
I'm sorry, Father. Was anybody else still here with you?
Other than the children, no. There were some adults who rushed back to find loved ones, to find loved things, to see if they could make their escape on their own. They could not believe that their former friends and loved ones had turned and been possessed so like they are. But I have been trained in these ways, and I could see that those I used to call friend are no longer there. Their souls
Cheryl.
must be put to rest.
Cheryl's gonna speak up and say, your training includes a sniper rifle.
And the father just sort of, he gives a wry grin. Once, many years ago, I served my country. Although my skills are rusty now, I did put them to great use.
Does this guy give off a Vietnam vet kind of vibe?
He most certainly does to Aidan, yes.
Just kind of grimly nod in agreement with his assessment of the situation.
We had held out hope, especially with the emergency broadcast that help would soon be coming, and I had hoped, Detective, that you would be the precursor to that. We had heard a helicopter pass over earlier. We were hoping at least the National Guard or something had arrived to rescue us from whatever evil this is.
Cheryl mentioned
Doesn't
hearing
look that way.
the helicopter. We did hear on the radio this morning they were dispatching National Guard, but it's hard
Yet
to say
he
where or
was
when.
in because this is an experiment.
Eugene. Calm down.
Well, do you have a better explanation?
No.
The father will actually peer again over Aidan's shoulder at Potman and say, yes, this is but a test of your faith and strength, not just in the Lord, but in your fellow man.
Well, I've already failed that, so... we call it off? I give up.
Hey, Lord, can we end this rapture?
Can we give a timeout?
The father sort of gives like a sigh at Aidan and says, I have seen much worse over my years. I do hope you, as a friend, can help piece his mind back together throughout the coming trials.
Hey, my mind is fine. You're the one expecting the people who
Eugene.
did this to us to come
Eugene,
riding to the
just-
rescue.
Leave him be on this.
Whatever.
So your business here was just passing through then?
That's
Yeah,
what
then-
brought us here.
I must say you would have great trouble leaving if for no other course than the fact that the roads are clogged with cars people had abandoned or had been ripped from.
Unfortunately, one of ours is now in those, or our car is also now in those piles.
Not to mention the 2 mudslides.
The father sort of blinks at that and says, I don't think the storm was as bad as suggested. The whole mudslide thing seems rather off to me.
Yeah,
Because it's a
actually
cover-up.
Think
Some
that might be
ingredients were-
them trying to block people's movement?
I do think so, Detective. That seems as if they are trying to perhaps block off whatever evil might be in here. Certainly I don't think the storm was that rough. We still have power.
Yeah, that's true.
Friends here did try to get up to the police station, but unfortunately it was lost.
They're just going to barricade us off and just watch what happens.
I imagine so. There might be a few holdouts yet, but with my eye scanning the horizon, I have not seen much to hope for. Someone clipping their toenails?
Sorry.
Nice.
At the very least, mute your microphone when you do that, Jordan.
I thought it was.
Well done.
Beautiful.
By my count, he's about half done, so...
Oh, shit.
How well do you think you'll be able to hold out here?
Father sort of crinkles his head and says, Well, the school had some supplies. Initial runs. Got more, and I do head into the town on occasion to make do. Certainly it should be long enough for help to come, in whatever form that it does. Particularly if the National Guard has been dispatched, and I hope the United States Army... Perhaps the CDC, to see what sort of blight has afflicted these people.
They're just going to shoot us if we try and get past them.
Even if they did, do you have any doubts of fear, Eugene?
Yes?
The primary danger that at least I have witnessed throughout the pain, Detective, is to try to avoid the heads of those individuals who have been afflicted with this blight, whatever it might be, particularly their mouths. I have seen too often those who have been bitten succumb to death, and then rise in some unholy mockery of life to hurt the ones they used to call friend.
I guess we're safe. We're not his friends.
Just maintain a grim look.
Spooky.
Is there anything else you've noted about them?
That taking off their heads does deanimate them. Other damage only stops them. You could blow off the rest of their body, but their head would still be active. Putting their souls to rest certainly requires a good shot.
Yeah, we noticed that ourselves after pretty much removing most of the body from one that was after us.
The father says, "As much I could not particularly offer anything more, other than you could possibly wait here. There is another who could tend after your wounds to look after them better, certainly to check. We have our precautions that we wish to take. There were many others who have come in here to seek refuge."
Where did the people go who didn't head back into town?
Father shrugs. "Who can say? Some of them headed out further along the road, perhaps to their farmsteads beyond, into the hills."
Do you have any bicycles?
The father says, "Those were all taken. However, I'm sure there are quite several scattered around the town still, along with other supplies, should you so brave it."
Anywhere in particular there might be some? Do you have like one hanging up in the church or something?
Wow.
The father
Sure,
chuckles.
the bicycle.
"No, I do believe that that was retired long ago along with me."
Okay.
Well, we're looking to get back to our hometown. Definitely appreciate it if we could at least hold up here with you until we can figure out what we're doing.
Other contemplates this, the eye sort of boring into Aidan here. Ryan, why don't you end up giving me a intelligence plus smooth talking?
All right.
He has reason to doubt, given his suspicion that the wounds that you have taken are no more than scratches.
Still -1.
You're still -1. That permanent -1, well, indefinite -1 penalty.
Not the greatest.
The father's heavy stare rests on Aidan and says, "You may stay here for several hours to contemplate how you all wish to go. However, since you do wish to leave this hometown, you will not be doing so here. I have no intention on making an escape run, and neither do those in my charge. However, the office, for a time, can be your respite until you are ready to brave the streets of Summer Meadow once again."
Oh, I appreciate that at least.
Indeed. What food and water we have to spare, although I do manage that you've brought your own since you're out there on your surviving.
Yeah, we have some. There's no need to give up your own.
Good. Then you can have the office until you are ready for your departure. The father turns away from Aidan, and he'll walk out of the office. And he'll close the door behind him.
Shit. Ideas? Suggestions?
Well, this place is a bust.
Little girls with guns.
At least
Little girls with BB gun, a single person with a single gun.
That's
You're implying something?
it's more guns than I have, and
Shut up, Eugene.
as soon as one of those guns, he says, gesturing to Cheryl and Aidan, runs out, I'm just saying.
Well, I think we're not exactly going to find much here, so we should rest for a bit.
While we're standing here, I'm actually going to take the time to take bullets out of the half-empty magazine and put them into the near-full one. Oh joy, an eraser that doesn't work.
Well, Tony's gonna look around the office on the off chance he finds something that's useful.
Gonna talk to Potman and tell him that,
Well, it depends on what Trusty Tony is looking for that he would classify as useful.
So I wasn't here, I'm sorry. Did they say what office this was? This is like the principal's office?
This is basically like the main office. This is like a small school, so basically you're in like an office area where you imagine there's a desk for like a secretary and then a principal who oversees the entire school.
Gonna see if there's any, like a locked safe or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Then he's just gonna root around just because he's bored.
Okay.
Cheryl's gonna talk to Potman and basically say that, the guy may be a good shot, but he makes you look a little less crazy, Eugene. Demons? Really? I mean, I'd be more willing to believe the government did this, especially with those mudslides.
It's what he knows.
Hey, I mean, some of that stuff was basically magic. I don't know. Maybe they're government demons. We don't know what they're into.
And now you're right back to being crazy.
Way to tip the scale.
I don't know, man. So.
Well, hey,
Aidan.
I mean, if anyone knows how to summon a demon, it's probably the government, right?
Yeah,
they're
like
the
this
only ones who know how to build nukes. I think.
A 10-year-old could build them,
Wait, really?
given the right materials. At least what you've seen on the internet.
not that hard to make a nuke.
I don't have the internet.
You do live out in the woods still, don't you, Eugene? Or did?
It's 99. A lot of people
I mean,
aren't
I've
huge on the
got
internet yet.
I've got a phone. I don't really have much of a use for it. Why the fuck are we talking about this?
I don't know, man. It's more of the point, I think we sit here and rest up because some of us look a little worse for wear.
Well, we came
Speak
here
up.
looking for transportation, and from what he said, there's none here for us. And he's going to put us out in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Aidan, how's your shoulder?
It's shitty.
Well, that'll teach you not to get that done to you again.
Just glare at you.
Hey.
Cheryl's gonna take the time to just kind of clean off any bits of cow brain that ended up on her shoe during the downtime.
Tony's gonna pull out a map of the town and see where they could get to easily. He's looking for a place that looks like it might have bullets. And he's coming
Police
up.
station.
They
Yeah,
burned the
that-
police station.
That's pretty much the only place that might have bullets. And he doesn't want to recommend doing that just yet.
Yeah, although we could travel through the open to get up there easier than crossing through the town.
It would be a little bit easier on our little bit tired bodies, but there's not that much cover in case we meet another person like, the person who kind of shoots first and asks questions later.
Like the children.
What if that wasn't a BB gun?
And that's
It was a
the-
BB gun.
No, I mean next time.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of the worry.
Well, I mean, they did miss every time.
Well, then they're bad shots.
They're like 8. Come on.
I don't know. I've never even held a gun.
Damn it, Eugene. Either way, I think we're just going to stay here for 2 hours and then we're going to get back on the road.
For every hour you will rest here within the office, you will regain 1 point of endurance.
Is everyone fine with 2?
I say we stay as long as he'll let us. What time of day is it? It was like dawn when we left.
Yeah,
Let's see here. Going through your time you've taken to get here, we'll say it's about, the time you spent, like, eating and contemplating strategy. We'll say it's about 10 in the morning whenever you arrived at the school.
So who wants 2 and who wants 3 if he'll let us? I think if we're going to be forced out, we should get as much endurance back as we can.
Well, I'd rather leave early. That way we don't, burn that way we don't burn a bridge, even if the bridge is shaky. Because if we stay,
Input?
I don't think Potman has anything.
Certainly, Potman's effusive declarations are not the most calming or reassuring to someone you've just met.